Hello, my name is Peter Verhaas. In this section, we will explore Java 9 other new features. In this section, we are going to take a look at JShell, which helps to aid the learning path to new developers, explore HTML5 Javadoc and multi-release, and finally about the tools to take advantage of new Java 9 features. In this video, we will get acquainted using JShell. We are going to take a look at what JShell is, what's good for, and how we should use JShell. So the first thing is what JShell actually is. You will see it during the video when we will use it in very detail, but in short, this is a REPL application for Java 9. REPL is an abbreviation that stands for Read, Eval, Print, Loop. So it means when you start it up, then you can type in just anything. Most probably you will type in some Java code. Very simple one-liners or few-liner codes. And then the JShell application will read what you type in, then it will evaluate it, print out the result, and then it will start again, so loop again. What is it good for? JShell was not available in earlier Javas. There were some applications which delivered some REPL functionalities for earlier versions of Java, but now it's part of the standard JDK. And it's very good to get a grab with Java language. It's very good learning things, to experience hello world-like of things when you start learning the language. But it's also very good when you just want to try out some API, because you can just type in something, and if it's not good, you are using the API in a wrong way, then you just type it again, and then you can experience how it works. And you don't need to edit a file, then run some compiling phase, then deploying and starting it up again. You can have very, very short loop circles trying out things. So it's again also something for learning. So you can learn things, not the language, but new API. Then the third thing, how to use JShell. Well, this is going to be the longest part of this video, because this we will learn in detail using a JShell. So to have a JShell, we should have some command prompts. Let's just clear it. And so we need Java 9. If you have installed different versions of Java, then be sure that the actual one which is active is Java 9. And then you can have, or you should have, JShell installed within the JDK. And if you type JShell, it starts up immediately. The very first thing you should try out is to type help intro. What you see on the screen is an interactive prompt that JShell is giving to you, and you can type in any commands. But the first thing you should try is help intro, and it also prints that you should type help intro at first so that you can get acquainted with other commands. The commands that you give to JShell itself and not as a Java fragment always start with the / character. So well, we get the introduction very briefly. The JShell tool allows you to execute Java code, getting immediate results, and so on and so on. If you want to have some more help, then you just type help. And then you get something which doesn't fit on the demo screen, where we are using very large font face. But we can roll back and see what's there. There are a lot of commands are listed here. And like list, edit, drop, save, open, vars, methods, and so on. And we will get acquainted in this video with most of these. So, as I said, the easiest thing is to do some hello world program. So just let's do it. And here it goes. It prints out hello world. What we actually did here, we typed in some command, valid Java code. It's not a class, it's not within a method, it's just a pure command. and then JShell wraps it around with an object, with some functional method, and then it executes the command. We didn't even have the semicolon at the end of the line because JShell just eases our, makes our work easier, recognizing that there should be some semicolon, so it inserts it there. It's not always the case. It not always does that. If we have a longer snippet and we have multiple commands, as we will see later on, we should have semicolons. So let's have something else. Now we declare a variable named a, and its value will be 13. Now just let's print out the value of this variable. To do that, I press the up arrow twice, and then I just edit the line that I was typing in, and now I get 13, the value is printed. So the JShell gives me a very easy way to edit the command line that I am typing in. I can recall snippets that I were typing in earlier, I can edit them and it generates a new snippet, and as it's typed in, as I press enter, it's executed. Now let's type in something more complex, method. I will copy it from an editor. Now JShell looks at the line that I was typing in and it analyzes it and it sees that it's not finished. So it gives me 3 dots and a greater than sign to signal that it expects me to type in some more things. And this is a kind of continuation lining. So I type in the second line, system out, print line hello world, and then now I'm closing method with the closing brace, and then we get syntax error. That's because we are missing a semicolon. And as I said, at the end of the line, when I'm typing in on a single command or a single snippet, if the semicolon is missing, to ease our work, JShell inserts it. But if I type in a method, something multi-line or a class, then JShell just doesn't know where to insert semicolon. So we should fix it. Now I will use the up arrow and I type in the snippet again, just pressing enter, and then I go up again. Now I type in the semicolon and then I'm closing the brace. And here we are. We created a method called main that accepts a string array argument, and then we can just call it. What happens? It will happen that it will give us an error. Yes, it does. And this is just an example of experimenting. We don't give any argument to the main method because usually it represents the command line, and when we don't type anything, then we can intuitively call main with no argument. But in Java it's not the way. We need there an array of strings, which can be null. So let's try that way. Again, I'm not typing here the semicolon because here I don't need. And voila, here it works. It prints out hello world because I was passing actually an argument which was actually null. Okay, now let's save our work. We can create a file and we can say save hello world. This will create a file, and in this file it will save the code that we were typing in. Now we will exit JShell and let's look what was put into hello world. Well, actually there are a lot of things, not only our main method but also the other snippets that we were typing in. The system out print line hello world, the int a equals 13, the system print line a, and so on, and even the calling, the invocation of main. This can be used to save our work. So we were experimenting with things, we typed in a lot of things, and then we just realized that, well, we would like to have it in our project, so we can copy paste it. First we can save it to a file, and then we can actually have it work. Now we will go on and start JShell again. Let's define the variable a again. Yes, we have it. And let's again define this main method. And let's also define a class. A very simple class contains nothing. Okay, now we have variables, we have methods, we have even a class. Now we will look at how we can list all these things in JShell. So the next thing we can type methods. Yes, it lists that we have one method. Then we can look at the variables. We have one variable and we have a type, class A. Now if I type reset as a command, then the state of JShell is resetting. And now if I am looking at methods, we have none. And variables, we have none. And types, we have none. These are all reset. But if I type history, which lists the snippets that I have, that I typed in lines, and also lists the commands, then it's not reset, it's there. So the state of JShell is reset, the Java state, but the command line state is not reset. Now, if we are interested in just the snippets that we defined, then we can type list. We don't have at this moment. So let's make some snippets again. Now we have 4 snippets. The variable, a command, a method, and a class. If I want to see only those snippets which are loaded by default at the start of our JShell, and I will talk about it what it is, then I give the option -start for the command list. And here I have 10 snippets right now here in this JShell. And these are import statements. These are executed when the JShell starts. So I have Java IO, Java Mat, and all these things imported without explicitly specifying it to JShell when I start to work. This is because these are the most commonly used imports. If I want to list all the snippets, then I use list all, and then I will have all the snippets, the start snippets, and all those that I myself typed in during the use. Now what happens if I want to modify one of the snippets? Then I can say, and I want to edit the snippet number 4, which is the definition of class. It opens an editor. Now it is set for me to be a VI editor, which is available on all Unixes. And then I can edit the contents of this snippet. So I just edit here an initializer block, and I save it, and I quit also the editor. And if I execute now list all, then we can see that we have now more snippets. 4, 5, 6, many snippets. Why? Because if I edit the snippet changes and it saves a new snippet, but it doesn't execute the new snippet. So if I say that new A, then it just says, well, okay, we have a new class A. But which version? It's still the 4, number 4. because I just edited the snippet, but I didn't execute. If I want to execute an already defined snippet, like in this case number 5, then I just type the number as a command. And then the class is modified. Now if I type new A, it prints hello A was instantiated because the A class is now modified. Don't be freaking out that I was using VI. In JShell we can use any editor. To do that, we can use the command set, and we can just put here any command that starts up on the machine, which is an editor. So let's say that I want to use Emacs instead of VI, but you can use just any editor, Notepad if it's on Windows, whatever. And then the editor is set to Emacs, and then if I say want to edit the snippet number, let's say number 5, then I have here a modified class. I can edit it, exit Emacs, if I remember how to exit Emacs, yes. And then now we have different snippets, and then the snippet number 10 is the one that we want to use for class A. And then we just did the same as we did before with VI. Now we were using Emacs. And since I'm using usually VI, not to see some surprises, I set back the editor to be VI. And the next thing is that now we have a lot of snippets, and we can delete some of them. Let's say we want to drop 11 because that snippet is not active, but we can drop snippet 13, and it just dropped that created variable which was holding a reference to A. And I can drop the class A because that's the snippet that is defining A, even though the other snippets are still there, but they were not executed recently, so there is no Java state related to those snippets. But I can drop the class A with the related snippet that's 12. And we don't have class A anymore. Nope, A is not defined anymore. So finally, if you have many other tasks you can do with JShell, you can always type help, and you can always type, let's say, help/list, and then you see what you can list on the screen. And the most important command you always should remember is / to get back from JShell to the command line prompt.